Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in this week's First Time Home Buying with Brian. This week I wanted to cover what to expect when your file makes it to underwriting. So this is going to happen after you have an accepted contract. So you found the house, you got your pre-approval in place. So now once we get your contract, we send out your loan disclosures. And with those disclosures and that list of documents I showed you guys last week, we move your file into underwriting. So underwriting is a little bit different, especially if you haven't gone through it before. So the way it works is we submit the loan package along with those documents into the underwriter. The underwriter takes a look at that, all those documents, and makes sure that everything that we supplied checks off the boxes for your selected loan program. So if you're doing an FHA loan, the FHA guidelines, the underwriter underwrites it based on those. If conventional might be a little bit different, so the documentation might be a little bit different initially through the underwriting. Once the underwriter goes through all of this, they determine, hey, everything that I've seen so far is good to go for approval. So what they'll do is they'll actually send that back to us and say, you're approved with conditions. This is typical for how everything is underwritten. So once it's approved with conditions, your loan officer is going to get with you and they're going to go through what those conditions are. A lot of times we're waiting on an appraisal or some title work. It's not unusual to have that. It takes a little bit longer because we order certificates and that sort of thing from different municipalities and government. So if the government's involved, it tends to take a little bit longer. Once we get all of the conditions back, we submit it back into underwriting for final approval. So we'll have the appraisal back and title work and all the certs, the HOA, everything that we need to cross off all the rest of the stuff that's on that list and answer any questions that the underwriter requested. So it's at this point that it's important that to make sure that when your loan officer gets with you with those conditions, you get them back as soon as possible, because once we submit it back into underwriting, it goes into a queue. And the way that the underwriters work is it's a first in, first out. So if once you send it in, you reserve your spot in line to see the underwriter to finalize everything. So we won't, and it could be a day, it could be 2 days. It really kind of depends on what the workload of the underwriter is at that point. So we want to make sure we get you back into there as soon as possible. That way we can get your final approval quicker and start getting the documents over to the title company to start balancing your closing disclosure and getting your numbers set up for closing. But all in all, this whole process should take, if we're quick about getting documents back, should take about a week and a half in underwriting. So some of that time, like I mentioned, is you're in a queue waiting for your turn to get to the underwriter. So it's not instantaneous, unfortunately. I wish it was, but there is, the underwriter does work on more than one file at a time. So it does take a little bit of time to get through underwriting. So it's very, very important that when, your loan officer requests the documents, you get them back quick. But again, if you have any specific questions about how underwriting works, what an underwriter is, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, send a message through Facebook. As always, if you guys have anything that you want me to cover next week, please let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to tell you about the different things that are involved with purchasing a home. Again, my goal is to get as many first-time home buyers into homes this year. So far this year, I have been able to help 15 new families get into a house for the first time. So it's creeping up there. I'm getting closer to my goal, but I still need y'all's help. Please don't hesitate to reach out and give me a shout. I look forward to speaking with y'all next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week.